more of the internet. Internet connectivity in Uganda is steadily growing. Internet connectivity in the country is greatly becoming the order of the day. Internet, everywhere you go, data, whatever you could call it. And my oh my, the country is actually in a mode of e-commerce. The digital space has become overcrowded in the urban setting. But when you go to the villages, it's quite it's actually vice versa. But the numbers are still growing as time goes by. Time to time. I'm Jerome Paul Sanko. Welcome on board to the topical analysis. We are discussing the internet course. Away from that, social media, open, Twitter, Facebook, Smart24 TV. Follow up, give us feedback, share the stories, get to understand how business is running, not only in Uganda, East Africa, and the world as well. And still with that matter, www.smart24tv.com is the official website. Still with social media, YouTube is Smart24 TV Space Live. Remember to hit the subscription button. We are on the road to 300 subscribers. Join us on that journey. You want to advertise with us? Plot 29A Commercial Road, Naguru. Bring those businesses. We drive business. We are the business. We are Smart24. I'm Joran Paul Sonko on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow me, and we discuss more of the business stories. It's business. It's business. You've heard of something said business unusual. It is time for the business. Let's get right onto it though. As Nita Uganda. Now, Nita Uganda is the National Information and Technology Authority, Nita, National Information and Technology Authority Uganda, has actually received a guideline, a directive to reduce the cost of the internet consumed by the business processing, outsourcing, and innovation companies. She announced the directive at the launch of the Business Processing Outsourcing and Innovation Council at the ministry head offices in Kampala. For instance, look at this. Most of the businesses in Uganda have now turned to the digital part, the digital world, trying as much as they can to adopt to the e-commerce and adopt to the available digital situation. So look at the world that we're living in. The world is actually evolving with the internet, evolving with getting to know what is happening and making headlines across different social media platforms. So you can only imagine what it means for anyone out there to understand the narrative. And for you to understand the narrative, it means that any business that is actually engaging in the daily activity is running on the internet. The announced directive was at the launch of the Business Processing Outsourcing and Innovation Council at the ministry head offices in Kampala. That is the Ministry of ICT. Now, the major focus is we have business owners and we have businesses in Uganda that are running, and most of them are only carrying out different or various activities using the internet. Look at television station or media stations, regardless of TV, radio, print media. Not only that, all companies are now operating with Wi-Fi, and more so because they try to get wireless fidelity, the wireless internet, to help them with the day-to-day activities, because of you have to understand what is happening with the internet. But we all know the cost of the internet in Uganda has always caused a number of challenges. with the fact that not only with the business, even other users of the internet, whether education part of it, people who use it for entertainment, people who use it for research purposes, people who use it for fun or social networking, it is the same. But the cost of the internet, away from the fact that we are looking at all focusing on Nita-Uganda, let us drive this conversation to the government level. Before the we got a 12% levy introduced on the internet, we previously had OTT, over-the-top tax. And this one was actually paying OTT over 200 shillings daily for one to access internet. After buying data, you had to pay OTT, where Ugandans resorted to acquiring VPN, the virtual private network, for them to actually access what you could say, attach it to free internet. After paying, it becomes free when you have the VPN. But the government realized that they're not making profit, or they're not giving, the target for the taxes that was met for the OTT was not being achieved. So the government had to change interface. And how did the government change? Was to realize that they had to introduce taxes to hit the direct market. That this tax was all about getting, when you pay for internet, it is the 12% is actually chopped off with the internet. So when the government is saying we need to adopt a digital network, even with the education facilities, all the institutions of learning that are available in Uganda, you could only see that most of them have put themselves in situations that online lectures are the way to go. And most probably because they've realized that it is actually helpful to curb the social distancing, because the Ministry of Health, together with the government, has set out guidelines that to maintain the standard operating procedures, and among which include wearing the masks and sanitizing, but there is social distancing. And if you do the social distancing part of it, it means you are still safeguarding yourself against COVID. So, which means it is better for anyone out there engaging in situations for any other person. And look at this. In 2019, when OTT came through, we pretty much said to ourselves, people would not stay on the internet. But because everyone is now living in an era of social media, the era that we are in is of social media. So internet costs are becoming a burden to users, are becoming a barrier to the users of the internet, that if you are using the internet and you cannot pay for the costs, then that means your time on the space is going to be limited. You are used to having, or let's say, you were used to creating a world filled with let's say, you as a Ugandan got yourself in a scenario that you are used to building strategies on the internet, or you're having your marketing done, your advertising done, and what have you, all that connected to the internet. And every other day that comes by that you are connected to the internet, it becomes your new breed. In COVID, people were no longer having physical movement, and business was on social media. Business was only supported by your access to the internet, because you can reach miles and miles of people. It is where you can actually carry on business with someone in Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, even without meeting them. Because why? You're social networking, you're talking to them. But according to the internet costs that are here, as we're actually going to head back to that story where the Minister of State for ICT, to build up more on the situation, that the Minister of ICT was actually called on and issued a directive to the National Information and Technology Authority to reduce the internet of the cost of the internet consumed by the business processing, outsourcing, and innovation companies. They are not talking about internet costs for you, the user, who's using it for what. They are looking at the business processing, outsourcing, and the innovation companies. Remember, we are in the National Science Week, and among the key factors of the National Science Week is to look at how we can help the people centered in the technology and science world to help them earn something out of their innovations and to help them develop more and more from this. Away from that, let us take a look at the story. I'll be right back to build more on the same scenario. And look at the story where the Minister of State for ICT, Joyce Nabosa, issued a directive to Nita-U Uganda to reduce the cost of the internet. I'm going to be right back.
I congratulate you. Thank you so much for accepting to be the chairman. May God bless you. The Uganda ICT sector is one of the most competitive and the fastest growing sectors in the country. ICT services alone contribute 2.5% of Uganda's GDP. And this is growing each year. We need this to translate into more jobs for our young people. BPO and innovation sector, I direct as follows. 1, reduction of cost of internet. The National Information Technology Authority Uganda, Nita-U, is directed to reduce the cost of internet and the BPO and innovation companies consume. Currently, BPOs purchase 1 unit of internet that is called MBs at $35. This should be reduced to $25. Dr. Zawid.
The Honorable Minister's speech, she said this reduction should take effect as soon as possible. And as soon as possible means that we are going to, as the PS and the team at the ministry concerned, we are looking into all the options that we have to consider to reduce this cost, and we don't want to go beyond next year. So the answer is we cannot be later than the beginning of next year, but we're going to make sure that we do it sooner than later. We won't go beyond January 2022. On whether it is internet across the board, private or government internet, the statement, I think, was clear. We are offering incentives of reduction to BPO companies that have been established, and these are the ones that we offer government connectivity by government. You know, government has a national backbone infrastructure that provides internet, and we have control over that and what it costs. So we are going to consider the cost of internet for government to these entities. But we know that the trend is if government puts its costs down, the private sector also plays along or takes the same trend. So eventually, the cost will come down relatively lower compared to what we have now, even with the private.
So that is it. And the Innovation Week is still ongoing, but when you look at the various innovations and what can actually help boost these innovations is looking at our internet connectivity in the country, of which the internet connectivity says a lot on what we can achieve as Ugandans and what we can do to make sure that things do happen. And every other day, we try our level best as a country to see that you are, let's say, gwengo muntu omuyiya mu Uganda oyagala promoting business zo oba oyagala promoting business yo ng'oyita ku mitimbagano naye nga internet costs ziyinza okutaffectinga gwe naye okuaffectinga abalala kuba kati ogenda suula yani agenda olaba. And then at the end of the day, the charges are very, very heavy at the end of the day. So the directive is was at the launch of the Business Processing Outsourcing and Innovation Council, the Ministry head offices in Kampala, because they're looking at how can we help the innovators cope up with the technology in the world. How can we help everyone engaging in the various technological sectors to continuously engage in these activities? We have literally a scenario whereby let's say we are in a scenario whereby we want to achieve bigger things in innovation and science, technology and innovation. But when you look at how these three things go hand in hand, is with the technology part of it, the internet is part of technology and it's part of the innovation that has been there since time in terms of science innovations. Because with the internet, you can easily tell that something is smoothly going to run with it. But then the internet is supporting various innovations, and that is why they are looking at the business that actually dealing with the information outsourcing as well as those in the innovation sector to have cheaper internet costs. Because when they have the cheaper internet costs, it means that it's going to facilitate the smooth running of their activities. It is going to create an effective world of innovation whereby we are going to see effectiveness with the world of technology. We are going to see things moving on step by step. Innovation ejjabe moving, internet egenda be supportive at the end of the day, and that is where we want to see things go. Twagala tulabenga fenga Uganda tufunamu fenga Uganda tuganyulwa mu nsonga eno ne internet kintu kikulu nnyo. That is where the Minister of ICT set out a directive to Nita-Uganda to see that this comes to pass, that internet costs can actually be reduced, to see that these people can benefit from their innovations. And what is, you see, normally when we talk about internet in Uganda, I think for many, a few Ugandans would understand the impact of that until they get into business. Nti omuntu amanyi internet nga gwogikozesa just for leisure, oyinza obutakutwalira nnyo budde, oyinza olowooza nti internet, the internet is just any other simple thing out there. So you can only imagine that such things can actually happen and help you. So buli olunaku bwe lukya notandika okwengaginga mu different businesses. Kati omuntu tamanyi mugaso gwa internet ne tugenda n'atuuka mu nsonga ya education part of it, one we twayingidde COVID, we bategeera nti internet yetaagisa ate internet weba ey'ebbeeyi toganulwa. So that is where the businesses are also affected with the high costs of the internet. As we are winding up with our topical analysis, here is a public notice coming in from the Uganda National Roads Authority, and this one is actually talking about the repairs at Luera Swamp along the Kampala-Masaka Highway. As of November 10th, this was a public notice. The Uganda National Roads Authority wishes to inform the general public that effective Thursday, 11th November 2021, which is today, mobilization of materials for repair works on the damaged sections at Luera Swamp along Kampala-Masaka Road will commence, as the motorists will be carried out as the motorists are therefore advised to approach this section carefully. Actual works will be carried out between Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the repairs are expected to be completed by Friday, 3rd December 2021. During this period, we expect some delays in traffic flow, since one lane will remain open to traffic. Therefore, all motorists are advised to follow guidance from the traffic police on site. Motorists may also use Mpigi, Kanoni, Sembabule, Villa Maria, Nyendo, Masaka Road, which is 175 kilometers, as an alternative route. The Uganda National Roads Authority says they regret any inconveniences this may cause, and also appeal for the patience as they expedite works as they expedite the works at this section. The section is at the Ruela swamp along Kampala Masaka Highway. So the works are continuously going on. So UNRA, that is the Uganda National Roads Authority, sends in and saying sorry for the inconveniences that will be caused. But the actual works will be happening Thursdays and Tuesdays. So Tuesdays and Thursdays do expect actual works to be happening. And it will take till the 3rd of December, this very year. 2 weeks from, I think it will be 3 weeks till the accomplishment of the situation. Away from that, coming up after the break, we do have lots and lots of more coming up on Smart Means Business. But after the break, at the top of the hour, we have Andrew Barija bringing you the latest from the world of entertainment. What is the business happening from the movie world, music, and anything to do with entertainment is coming your way after the break. Just skip it. Smart Means Business.